Hello children, today I am present here with second part of chapter 6, that is staffing. In the previous chapter we have discussed the meaning of staffing, its importance, the process of staffing, and under process we have discussed about recruitment. So in this particular chapter we are going to discuss about the other two steps in the process of staffing, and those steps are selection and training and development. So we will start with the meaning of selection. So selection, it is the process of choosing the most appropriate candidate for the organization to fill the vacant job position. Now we know that the staffing process is done in order to get the most suitable candidate. So in the selection process, because before selection the applications were reached to the organization, through recruitment process. Now after recruitment, the most appropriate candidate has to be selected, or the most promising candidate has to be selected to fill the vacant job position. So for that the selection is done. So again I am reading this definition for you. Selection is the process of choosing from among the candidates from within the organization or from outside, because recruitment are of two types: internal recruitment and external recruitment. That is why it is written here within the organization, that means the internal recruitment, or the applicants, those who are there within the organization, among them we have to choose, or from outside the organization, means the applications which we have received or the organization has received from outside, not from the organization or from the employees. So it is the process of choosing from among the candidates from within the organization or from outside the most suitable person for the current position or for the future position. So this is the meaning of selection. Now in selecting the most appropriate candidate or choosing the most appropriate candidate, a process has to be completed. So let us discuss about the process of selection. What all steps are taken in order to get finally the most suitable candidate for the organization. So let us this one table is given to you in short. Now let us discuss this process in detail. First, it is preliminary screening. So after applications have been received, that is through recruitment, they are properly checked as regarding qualification, skills, etc. by screening competition. So in this preliminary screening, actually any of the general manager, they come and ask certain questions to the candidates in order to know the confidence level of the employee. It is not the main screening or main interview. It is the preliminary screening, just to find out whether the candidate is confident in the job or not. He is having sufficient confidence to do the job or not. So a list of candidate to be called for employment test is made, and unsuitable candidates are rejected through this particular process. Now after preliminary screening, the next it is selection test. So there are number of tests conducted by the organization depending on the nature of job for which the candidate is to be selected. First one we can see here, it is psychological test, which are based on assumptions that human behavior at work can be predicted by giving various tests, like aptitude test is conducted, personality test is conducted. So from that the psychology of the candidate can be known. So aptitude test basically refers to, or it is the test to find out the capability of the candidate to learn new skills or the new job. So next it is employment test for judging the applicant's suitability for the job. So apart from, so these selection tests, they can be either written or they can be oral. So different types of selection tests are taken. Some it is mentioned here. that aptitude test is there, personality test is there, apart from this trade test is there, then interest test is there. So like that, depending on the nature of job, various type of selection tests are conducted by the organization. Now after these first two steps, preliminary screening and the selection test, the employees, those who qualify in this selection test, they are called for the employment interview. In this particular stage, that is employment interview, a panel of expert is called. A group of expert people is called, who used to ask different questions to the candidate in order to find out the knowledge of the candidate pertaining to the job for which they have applied. So this employment interview is conducted mainly for these following purpose: to find out suitability of the candidate for the job, to seek more information about the candidate, to give the candidate an accurate picture of job, what details of terms and conditions. So this way employment interview is conducted. This is the main interview for the candidate. Now after this, reference check. So when the candidates, they are filling the application form, they are asked to give any two references or information about two people who know their background. So before selecting the candidate or finally selecting the candidate, the employer make an investigation of the references, means the two or more people who know this particular candidate, their details are mentioned in this reference check. So this investigator makes, employer just finds out the reference supplied by the applicants. They investigate these references supplied by the applicants to know the behavior of the candidate, to know the character of the candidate. It undertakes a thorough search into candidate's family background, past employment, education, policy records, etc. So from this, employee can come to know about the character or behavior of the candidate. Next is the selection decision. So those who pass this reference check, then employment interview and the previous steps, then selection decision is taken by the management. So a list of candidates who clear the employment test, interview and reference check is prepared, and then then the selected candidates are listed in order of merit. So after this, the medical examination or the physical examination of the candidate is done. So for this, either the organization, they hire some doctors for the medical examination, or if the organization is very large, they have their own doctors to do the physical examination or the medical examination of the candidate. It is to find out whether the candidate is physically and medically fit to perform the job or not. Now when the candidate passes this medical examination as well, the job is offered to them. So next step, it is job offer. After a candidate has cleared all the previous selection steps or the stages, he is formally appointed by the issuing him an appointment letter. The board, terms and conditions, pay scale are an important part of this appointment letter. Means job is offered to the candidate through or by giving him an appointment letter. And finally, the last step, it is contract of employment. So after getting the job offer, candidate has to give his acceptance by putting his signature. After acceptance, both employer and employee will sign a contract of employment which contains terms and conditions, pay scale, means the remuneration or the salary, leave rules, how many hours he has to work, mode of terminating, means removing the employee from the job, etc. So these contracts are being signed by both employer as well as employee. This way a suitable candidate gets into the organization or is selected by the organization. Now when the employee gets selected, he has to be given proper training so that he can enhance his skill, so that his performance can improve, because we know that a trained employee performs much better as compared to an untrained employee. So training has important place in the process of staffing. So let us understand what is training. So it is the act of increasing the knowledge and technical skills of an employee for doing particular job efficiently. So both existing employees as well as new employees get acquainted with their job, and this increases job related skills. So basically training is provided to enhance the skill of a particular job which the candidate has to do in the organization or perform in the organization. Now let us talk about the benefits of providing training to the employee, the benefits to the firm as well as benefits to the employee. So first let us talk about what benefits the firm get by providing training to the employee. First thing, it is avoid wastage of time, effort and money involved in the hit and trial method, because without training the employee will make use of hit and trial methods in order to do the job, and in that he will waste lot of time, resources, money, his effort, etc. So that is avoided. Second, productivity improves. Out quality plus quantity both improve, and this will provide more profit to the organization. Then through proper training equips the future managers, means when an employee becomes skills in a particular job, he can be promoted to managerial positions in the future. So this organization will get the managers for futures. Employee morale, the confidence level of the employee, that also boost up, because they know how to perform that particular task, because they have learned the skill of that particular job. And absenteeism and turnover also gets eliminated. Then response to fast changing environment. Business environment is very dynamic, frequent changes take place. So when an employee is well trained in his skill, he adopts those changes very quickly without any hesitation. Then supervision also becomes easy, because employees are trained in their job. So there will be the supervisor may not have to guide them too much, because they are already aware of their job, how they have to perform. So these are some of the benefits to the organization. Now let us talk about benefits to the employee. So improved skill and knowledge, so better career opportunities are there to the candidate, because a person who is well skilled and has the better knowledge about his job, he has better future opportunities, or he has chances of getting promotion or getting better job in some other organization as well. Second benefit, that the performance level of the employee it enhances, and his salary or this earning improves, and there are less chances of accident, because they are skilled in the job, so they know how to do their job well, so their chance of accident is also minimizes. Satisfaction and morale of the employee, that also boost up the morale of the employee, or the job satisfaction of the employee, it improves because of training. Now there are basically two methods for providing training: on the job methods and off the job methods. So on the job, first let us talk about on the job methods of training. So it refers to the methods that are applied at the workplace where the employee is actually working. It means learning while doing. So in this particular method, the employee is not sent to any different place to get the training of his particular job. While doing the job itself, he gets the training. So that we call it as the on the job training. Means being in the job, he is given the training about that particular job. Now let us talk about some of the common methods of providing on the job training. First, it is apprenticeship method. So in this method, one master trainer is there who performs the job, and the trainee, the candidate or the newly elected employee, he looks his master, and slowly he picks up the work or learns the skills of that particular job. and slowly this master, he hands over this job to the this trainee, and trainee starts performing the job. And when the master trainer is confident that yes, the trainee has learned all the skills of this particular job, then that particular job is fully handed over to the new employee. So that we call apprenticeship training. Then next method, it is internship training. So under this method, an educational institution enters into agreement with the industrial enterprise for providing practical knowledge to its students by sending them to business organization for gaining practical knowledge. So in this method, there is one agreement between the universities, colleges, and the organizations. So in educational institution, the candidates have already got the theoretical knowledge, but they are not having the practical knowledge. So they are sent to these organizations to acquire the practical knowledge of what they have learnt in the theory. So in this one short amount is also paid to the this trainee, that we call stipend. So this is called internship training. Then next, it is induction training. So actually induction training, it means to make the new employee aware about the environment, or to make him more familiar to the organization. So company used to conduct some seminars or some conferences or some get-togethers in order to make the new candidate familiar with the organizational environment, so that he can become very what we can say, he can become very free to carry on his work without any hesitation. So let me read out that is as it is mentioned here. It is a type of training given to help a new employee in settling down quickly into the job by becoming familiar with the people, the surrounding, the job, and the business. So for this program is kept in the organization, which we call it as the induction training. Now let us talk about here I have misprinted. Actually it is off the job method. It is not on the job, it is off the job method of training. So from the term itself, it is very clear. Under this method, training is given to the trainers at a place other than the place of work. Means he is taken to some other place away from his actual workplace to get the training. So in our textbook, only one method is discussed, and that is vestibule school. So under this method, one dummy model of machines, equipments, and other things, tools are made, or we can say dummy model of organization is created with dummy machines, and this new candidate, this new employee, he is given the training over those dummy models, because the original machines, they are very sophisticated. So the employees cannot be given training on those sophisticated or very costly machines. So they are given training on the dummy models, and when they become expert in working on these dummy models, they are brought back to the actual workplace. So that we call, this method is called vestibule. Now let us talk about training and development. So training is actually equipping the employee in a particular job or the job which he is doing, but development refers to the overall growth of the employee. So let us talk about this in detail. Training is concerned with imparting technical knowledge in doing a particular job, but development, it is a wider process concerned with growth of an individual in all respect, which means overall growth of the employee. So both however both are related process. Training helps the employee in learning job skills, whereas development shapes attitude of the employee. So let us see what is the basic difference between training and development with the help of one table. So I will read it for you. So meaning of training: it means imparting skill and knowledge doing a particular job. Here you have to focus that training is imparted to enhance the skill of a particular job, the job which the employee is doing or has to do. But development, it is the growth of an employee in all respect. Now, what is the purpose of training? It is concerned with maintaining and improving current job performance. But development purpose is it seeks to develop competence and skill for future performance. So its purpose is for current performance, and development, it is for enhancing the future performance. Now, methods, two methods we have discussed to provide training. It is imparted through on the job method as well as off the job method. Here I have misplaced, means not mentioned. And development, actually it is imparted through off the job method programs. Now, initiative, who takes the initiative in providing the training? The boss takes the initiative for imparting training to his subordinates. But for the development purpose, the particular person or the individual himself has to take the initiative, otherwise he won't be able to develop himself in all the respect. So individual has to take the initiative for self growth and development. Now, what is the duration of training and development? Training programs are organized for short terms, but development takes place over a large period of time or a longer period of time. So this is one comparison table of training and development. So these are the various topics which you have to learn in this particular chapter. Now, here I have prepared one assignment for you. Please complete this assignment in your note copy. All these questions, their answers you will get in the video itself. So first question is, what is selection? Explain its process, that we have discussed in the video. What is training? Explain its benefits to a firm. Third question, what is on the job training method? What is the on the job training and explain its method. Similarly, fourth question, what is off the training method? Off the job training, actually it should be, what is off the job training method? Explain its method. And fifth question is, write any 4 differences between training and development. So students, kindly complete this assignment and be in touch with your textbook. Revise the previous chapters also. This is the last video. Next video we will upload by 16th of June. So now you will get the summer break in between. So in this duration or the time gap, you be in touch with the various topics which we have discussed in both business studies as well as economics. So thank you, children, yourself.